And you know what time it is. Another episode, another day, another Friday. We are here. We're in the building. It's the Uncanny crew. And no, we are not after dark or until dark or whatever those goofballs are doing over there on that goofball radio station. This is Uncanny Earth, and we're getting uncanny tonight. As
They go to bed
always, I
early.
am your host. I'm your host. And I'm your host, Robert Solomon. And with me is not a person that could be considered a hitman, but rather there is a person that could be considered nefarious, couldn't be considered a misanthropic individual. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Spider. What's up with
Those
you, buddy?
those guys go to bed early now. They moved their show up by an hour
Oh, they
because
gotta be in bed.
they gotta hit the topics before we hit them, which is what it is.
They got to
'Cause
steal our topics for next week. So next
yeah,
week they'll be like, we're doing dreams too. And of course, Steven the intern.
Hello.
Steven, what are you doing right now with your life?
I'm at my friend's house tonight.
You have friends. That's crazy. I don't have those. What are friends?
Friends are people
Some
you
of
hang
us
out
only
with.
have them. Anyways, gentlemen, what is going on? How has your week been since we last discussed last week's discussion on the missing 411? It wasn't part one, but it was a rather a part two. So what's been going on with you two fine gentlemen since I last spoke to both of you?
I've been okay.
Okay. Spider, how have you been? You got a metal massacre shirt. You've been massacring metally.
yeah. I've still got this shirt. I just washed it like once and then kept on going. But
you shouldn't say that. That's things you shouldn't say on the air. You can say
I'm pulling off the Moxley look is what I'm doing. I'm a total mess all the time, just looking like a slob, showing up, not selling anything, just doing the Moxley thing for anybody who knows that.
All you gotta do is just bleed a little bit, and then you'll have the whole look down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like some homeless guy off the street came in and like, hey, you want to fight a match for us? Yeah, hey, that's the Moxley. That's me lately.
They're not gonna pay him.
Oh, they pay everybody over there, but that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. What have I been doing? I don't know. I haven't been doing much. I've just been running around the house all the time, doing everything.
Right. All right. So, gentlemen, tonight we are talking nightmares and dreams and all the beautiful things that are in between. Let's start off with something that I like to do. When it comes to nightmares and dreams, how many times have both of you had deja vu? Like in your life, how many times do you think you've had? And if you haven't, that's okay. But how many times do you think the both of you have had deja vu?
Many, many, many times. Like it I could probably say almost monthly on average.
Nice.
It's relatively constant. Like I probably had something a few days ago because I can always remember thinking. And it usually for me, it's like double deja vu. It's like I've had deja vu of this before, and it's happening a third time because I have this conscious thought that's like, okay, I've been in this situation before, but I've also been in this situation before again. So that's me. Things happen.
River Lemon, what's going on tonight? We're talking about nightmares and dreams. We just started off the conversation about deja vu, and I was asking my co-hosts, how many times have you guys had deja vu? And I'm going to ask you guys in the chat too, but I got to ask Steven. Steven, how many times do you think you've had deja vu in your lifetime?
I've had it a few times, but never like overly strongly to where I felt like it was something supernatural, you know?
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. Like I probably had it like 3 or 4. Sorry.
Hang on one second.
Oh, well, he's putting us on hold. He's putting us on hold. Oh, okay. We didn't know this was your show. He's
climbing the corporate ladder.
Right. We didn't know this was your show. My fault. Carry on. You own it now.
Nice. Sorry.
But I have to agree with you.
I'm gonna mute myself for a minute. My friends are back.
See, this is like, why did we hire this dude? We could have hired AI. We could have had an AI person come in and be our guest or our intern. We got this yahoo.
It'd be Steven the AI.
It'd be Steven the AI.
Yep.
We got this yahoo in here, and he's just telling us when we got to be on hold. But I have to
automated intelligence.
I have nope, not this time. Not this time. Nope. I have deja vu probably I can remember having it like 4 times, like to where I remember it. Apple says once or twice every couple of months.
Yeah, just like me.
It happens to me all the time. See, with me, it just happens like 4 times. 4 times it has happened, but they've been very strong, like to a level of like, oof, you know? So, and I don't, so, but anyways, like I was saying, so how much does your dreams tie into your reality? How much do your dreams tie into your real life? James says all the time, "Are you guys all having like, how are you having these deja vu episodes?" And I'm having it like 4 times. I think with me though, like my progression is a little bit different. But anyways, um, so how often do your dreams mirror your reality?
For
Um,
me, oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No. You spoke first. You spoke first. You
Okay.
get it.
It's his
For,
show. He can take over.
for me, never. I haven't dreamed since like 2012.
That reminds me of a quote that I've told people before. The exact wording I never quite got right because it's been a long time since I read that book. But there was a quote in a Dean Koontz book back before his books just started to get like too bonkers and kind of generic.
He said bonkers.
Both bonkers and generic at the same time.
Binaric even.
Yeah, binaric. Hey, I don't know what that means, but it
I
sounds
don't know.
official.
Somebody's offended. Somebody's offended.
But there was a quote in there because there was a character that never dreamed at all, and he was always like good with his life. Everything was great for him. He always had a great attitude. And the quote was that people who are 100% virtuous and honest with themselves and completely like in the zone with their life all the time, like completely honest with everything in life, they don't need to dream because everything is happening while they're awake. So they dream a dreamless sleep and they get full rest all the time.
I love it.
See, I'm different, but then again, like I think too, trauma and like having to do some crazy stuff in life doesn't always equate to good sleep. So when you've gone through some things, like it's uh-oh. Ryan Chevrolet is in here. What's up, Ryan? What's going on, buddy? I would have to say with me, when it comes to these things of like dreams and whatnot, I don't dream. I rarely have dreams, and if I do, they're very outlandish. They're nothing that equates to me like an esoteric type of atmosphere. Like a lot of folks will have esoteric type dreams. I don't. The last dream I had was, and thank you, King Nerd Zeus. That's the homie. Much love, much love.
Thank you.
But I don't. I have odd dreams. I think the last dream I had that was in the Assassin's Creed universe, and I was a assassin that stole a secret document, and I was being chased by the Templars. Like that was the dream, was me being chased. Like I remember running and jumping and doing the parkour stuff. So for me, it's more of that nature. Like my dreams are more correlated to the things that I see during the day, something odd that I haven't seen in a while. It'll sit in the memory bank and dream. The nightmares that I've had vary, and they're very rare. Like I've had very selective nightmares based off trauma experiences. But the interesting aspect of my dreams, there's always some little pinpoint of my dream where I realize that I'm dreaming. Not enough to induce lucid sleep, mind you, but enough to where I can say, I know I'm dreaming, but I can't control the dream, but I know that I'm not. I know that I am not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if I have if I have a nightmare, I know it's a nightmare. I know it isn't a reality. I'm like, this is a nightmare. Just wake up. Just wake up. That's what I gotta do. It might wake up sluggishly, but I wake up. I don't have like where I sit up straight and like, oh my goodness,
I have, if I dream, which I dream relatively constantly,
I feel that, River. I feel that.
I always know in part of my brain that it's a dream. Now that doesn't mean I can always do things within it to alter it, because like I can't insert logic all the time, but a part of me is always aware of it, that hey, you're dreaming. But it's like the rest of my brain is kind of like, nah, it's okay, just roll with it. And I have the I have the two things kind of going on with dreams too. Like I usually have the superficial stuff where like I'll have dreams about Alien, like from the Alien movies and things.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'm somewhere and there's the alien running around and you got to do your thing, or Jurassic Park, whatever, that kind of stuff in weird situations. Like when I was a kid, I had this dream once where I was in my room and I was trying to hide under the covers because a T-Rex was like coming in through the roof and looking at me. And then it walked away and I was like watching it through the windows and it's running around. And it's like, that doesn't really mean anything, right? Like it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It just means I was thinking about dinosaurs. But I've had a lot of
Sometimes
other
that's it, yeah.
dreams. I've had a lot of other dreams over my history that have been connected, like a continuing narration. And I told you about a couple of them once because there was one that you were in with a guy that was supposed to be your uncle, but he looked like your dad. And it was just a weird, like, you guys gave me a car so I could leave this zombie infested area because you knew I had to keep traveling or something like that. And it was part of a series of zombie dreams that I had. And usually when other people are in my dreams, it's very specific. Like if it's somebody that I know that's in a dream, it's always for a specific purpose. If it's people I don't know, it's just random stuff.
Okay. I would like to point something out that Apple said a minute ago in the comments. I have two types of dreams, ones that are superficial and others that make me feel completely immersed in another world. I'm not convinced that it's not other worlds. Now, if anyone has ever seen Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, they presented a theory that maybe when we dream, we're actually living out our lives across the multiverse. And I've always really loved that theory.
I think when we dream, it's a way for our brain to comprehend what we have been through in the day itself. Now, I don't know about Ryan. I don't know what kind of dreams Ryan's having, but
I saw
yeah,
that.
buddy. No, that's not true. No, that doesn't happen. I think you're the only one. He's tapped in. He's tapped in. But I
If
think
I
that
have dreams about hot goth people, then usually it's an entirely different kind of dream that's not appropriate for the children.
Vampires.
Here, so
I don't like. I'll turn the show off. If you guys
let's
are
just
gonna go
move
there.
on from there.
That's for a whole nother episode. I think dreams are a way for us to cope with what we've went through during the day. But I also think dreams are just a very random thing. Like we see something random that we haven't seen or that we've never seen, and then we have a dream about it. The craziest thing for me is dreaming about someone you haven't seen in a long time, and then you run into them. Like I have had this happen quite a few times, and so I think personally, dreams are a mixture of both. I think they are a sort of premonition of what we're going to be going through. But I also think they're just some random happenstance in our brain because our brain is a very wild thing. Our brain is a very much like subconscious based entity that sees things, puts it into our subconscious, and doesn't really tell us. The brain isn't going to be like, hey, I put this in your subconscious. So when you sleep later, you're going to have a nightmare about this said thing. Because I have had nightmares about things I might have seen for a split second, but that split second thing takes up an entire dream and turns it into a nightmare. And so in that level, it's like my brain has fixated on whatever it was that I had seen for that day and decided to turn it into a nightmare.
One of the things that we got to remember too is that all of our body's made up of chemicals, and any change in the chemicals of our body can cause different health things, different whatever. Your brain's no different. Your brain is controlled by the chemicals that flow through it. That's why people take antidepressants, or that's why people smoke the mind altering things going on the walkabout in the outback and things like that. Or the peyote and things like that. It alters your perceptions, right? It's chemicals. It's all chemicals. But things that your diet can change whether you have nightmares or dreams. And it's even talked about in literature. Like you have Christmas Carol where Scrooge is like, oh, you're not real. You're this ghost. You're a bit of meat or a bit of cheese that hasn't digested yet. Because it's, and what's interesting is that things like, especially things that are created through fermentation or through spoilage or something have the most effect on the chemicals in your brain. It's like mushrooms and things, not the magic mushrooms, but even regular mushrooms, it's a fungus. And a fungus, it's all relies on spores. So it can affect your brain. Cheese, generally, dairy cheese, is created through spoiled milk, basically. And that's a process that can affect your. I used to do experiments like this way back with different kinds of actual, before I had to stop eating dairy cheese. I used to get different kinds and take them before I went to bed, and they would cause different dream scenarios. Like, and they weren't like,
We took a hit of that mozzarella and that boy was
I know
gone.
it sounds like, oh, you're doing hard drugs, but it's just a block of cheese. But
He's doing hard cheeses.
it's a true thing, because it's not what it is, it's how it's
Spicy
made.
cheese.
It's because it's, and the same thing could be had if you had like tempeh, if you were into Asian food, and tempeh is like the spoiled, basically spoiled soybeans. You know, you get the real sticky. Some people don't know about that. It's gross.
I don't
but it's
eat
good.
spoiled soybeans, my friend.
Tempeh. Look it up. It's
Yeah, I'm
good
about
stuff.
to lose my temper.
But well, you do that right over there, where I'm actual pointing.
Listen, while food does affect our dreams, right? I don't think that it affects our dreams on a serious level. I think that food just sort of enhances the dream itself. I think if you're going to have that dream, you're going to have it regardless. But I do think that things like cheese, things like mushrooms, whether they be magical or unmagical, I think that they do enhance a dream. I don't think that they make the dream itself, but I do think they enhance it. But I also think that dreams will come about just the way your body works, your mind works, the chemicals in your body, everything else. I think when you're stressed, you're going to have some crazy dreams. I think when you're normal, you're going to have some crazy dreams. I think sometimes you don't dream at all, because there's been times when I haven't dreamed at all. It's just a blank slate. You know, it's just a straight
you
up
lay
blank
down
slate.
and then 10 minutes
Yeah.
it's time to wake up and you've gone through the whole night.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I agree with that, because there's things in our subconscious that stand out. And when I said as a kid I had a lot of recurring things and they carried over into adulthood, one of the recurring things, images, I guess, was a certain dragon. It was a brown skinned dragon with a canine kind of face, because dragons throughout mythology have, sometimes they look more like dinosaurs, sometimes they look more like whatever.
It's almost Egyptian.
It was a specific dragon that seemed to me to be the same dragon every time I had a dream about it. It was all slightly different situations, but it would always show up and it would always lead to a fight. I'm trying to fight this dragon, and I could never beat the dragon. Eventually,
but what were you going through at the time?
Lots of different things throughout my life. And I eventually, my best idea is that it was somehow related to certain parts of my self-confidence and how I perceived myself approaching problems, because it was always an obstacle to be overcome that could never be overcome. And
That makes sense, though.
A lot younger, I always had problems with self-confidence. I was always like nowadays, I'm just like, whatever, expletive, who cares?
I had zero problems,
but
as a youngster with self-confidence
and things like that, that's a perfect example of something that could affect your dreams. If you have a lot of nightmares around a certain time period, you think, well, how am I feeling at the time? I'm feeling down. I'm feeling like I can't get through things. I'm feeling like I'm being defeated all the time. You have more nightmares. Eventually, I stopped dreaming about this dragon, and I think 100% it had everything to do with the fact that I changed how my outlook was to such a way that I was just like, no, you can't come in here and do this anymore. And my subconscious just kind of pushed it out. But I never did beat the dragon. Like, I've never had a dream at the end of all that changing the attitude that was like, oh yeah, I finally won. Now I feel great. It's never happened. So it could still be there. It could still be something sitting in my subconscious to come back if I ever fall back into that thought pattern again.
So it's something you might have to face at one point in your life, because I think dreams are like that. I think the stumbling hurdle blocks that you have before you manifest in your dreams. And the only way you can remove those stumbling blocks is by assessing the threat that you have in your life and removing it to the best of your ability. So until you do that, you're going to sit there and sit on dreams that encompass all of that, to which you are keeping the greatness of yourself blocked into a square, to where those hurdles and those situations are going to manifest in larger than life creations, to be honest, because I don't have those. My dreams are all very much like out there. I think one dream, like a dream I'll always remember, is I dreamed I lived in a place that had satellites everywhere. The big satellite dishes, they were everywhere as far as the eye could see, because they were trying to detect something. Big, huge ones, like gigantic football field long shaped, like the one in what was it, Colombia or Costa Rica or Puerto Rico. It was one of those. It was down there in like Latin America, South America, and it was in the James Bond movie. It was the same one they used for the James Bond movie. It
The
fell into
Arecibo, right?
Yep, the Arecibo.
It got damaged by that storm a few years ago, and they had
except
to
it was
decommission it.
flipped, and it was placed out that way. But there was a bunch of other little ones and everything else, and I always remembered that, and I was like, "What was that dream about?" And I think to myself, I think I was searching for something, and so the satellites met what I was searching for, and it pointed outwards to try to find what I was searching for. I don't think dreams are always just. I think dreams are what we need to see and or hear, is what I think. I think dreams are our own brain giving us advice, and sometimes maybe some outside entities or forces giving us some advice. Now, sleep. Let's talk about sleep, because obviously you need sleep to dream, and sleep to have nightmares and dreams and all that Jupiter jazz. Sleep experiments. Now, our own Deadpool here said he was going to engage in a sleep experiment where he wasn't going to go to sleep for like 3 or 4 days.
I got scared.
Oh, he turned into a little baby. See, this is the type of intern we have, a little baby intern.
I didn't want to see the spiders. Apparently,
you got to see it for the show.
Days,
do it for the show.
Hallucinations.
But no, he's not wrong. I have went the most about 2 days, 48 hours without sleep. That was my apex before my body stopped. My body, like where I was at, I just laid there. Like it wasn't that I could control it. It was just my body just said, "We're done. You're going to sleep. And if you don't go to sleep, I'm gonna make you go to sleep." Now, what are your thoughts, both of you? What are your thoughts on aspects regarding sleep experimentation, i.e., staying up or trying to stay up, using normal means, not by using illegal substance means? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What do you think is the reason being that you have those sort of hallucinations?
I think it's because when your brain starts to get tired, your organs start to shut down, and your brain starts working so hard to try to send the body signals to keep it awake that it just starts losing its sanity, to put it in a way.
Chemicals.
Yes.
It goes back to chemicals again, and that's probably a legitimate way to look at it, because
it's trying to keep your body alive.
Right, because your body
Exactly.
needs sleep to regenerate certain parts of itself. Like your blood you need to sleep for your body to regenerate blood and to do all kinds of other things, and to regenerate damage. Like if you get really badly hurt, your body can eventually regenerate most of that damage. I mean, if you lose an arm or something, okay. But
Obviously.
and you might get scarred and things like that. That's true. And also, you personally, of course, things, they don't heal the way that they're supposed to. That figures. Like I've got stuff that won't heal just right if I sleep, but at least the body tries. But if you take sleep out of the picture, your body doesn't get that opportunity at all. And then things can just sit and just get worse and worse and worse, because again, chemicals aren't flowing right, because the body isn't in a rest state, because only in a rest state can the body move those chemicals around the way it wants to, because it doesn't have to worry about you getting up and walking around. So your body isn't dedicated towards making sure your legs are walking around. It's not dedicated to making sure that you're moving and chewing and eating and things. It can redirect those resources to repairing damage. And if you just stay awake constantly and move around and keep doing things, it can't do that. And so the brain works overtime.
Is it kind of like clearing the cache from your internet browser, or closing things out of multitasking on your phone. Would that be a
No,
good comparison?
it's more of a, like, you've reconnected to the internet, so it refreshes the page. So
Okay.
it's up to date. It's like you're downloading updates in your sleep to your body.
Oh,
Your
okay.
body's updating itself. So, like, for instance, I don't know how you guys are, but for me, if I stay up like 6, 7 hours into the morning time, which is true, this is true.
Yeah,
Um,
because the chemicals can't keep your body going.
but if I stay up to say 4 or 5 in the
Lemon
morning and I've
said,
been doing research all night for the show or for a presentation, which I have done, I am exhausted mentally. So I need that sleep so my brain can take the information I've learned throughout the day, whatever I was reading, whatever I was understanding, log it into the system being my, the parts of my brain, the compartments of my brain. And then it has to heal my body because my body is now up past my bedtime. So my body's like, okay, we're going to have to push this a little bit into high gear. I know we have to get this done. So I'll stay up with you, but you got to let me rest. So your brain's going to get the proper functions to those organs, to those body parts, so that it can, in fact, you're going to have to sleep a couple extra hours, but you'll wake up refreshed. You'll wake up ready to go. And I think that's what it is, because you have to, it's like when you download an update, it has to install. So, like, if you're reading or taking in information throughout the day, mentally, you need that time for your brain to install it so that you can remember it. And that's a chore. That is a chore. So that's why there's a lot of good sleep from that. And so what you're understanding here is that because your brain is downloading this information, if you do not sleep, it can't download it, or it can't install it into your body being the firmware.
like rebooting your computer.
Yes, your brain cannot reboot if it doesn't get the sleep it needs. If you're up, because I've stayed up, like I said, 48 hours, and that was the worst time I think I've ever had.
Oh,
Just
one
because
time. Oh, go ahead.
without sleeping, it's like you are a living dead person. You know you're alive.
Yeah.
You know you're there, right?
Zombies.
You know you exist. But at the same time, you don't exist. You exist on one plane, but mentally you're just like, everything is a haze and a fog until you can get back to sleep.
I completely understand that. What I was about to say is one time I stayed up for 72 hours.
Nope.
And before it was all over, before I finally before I finally got some rest, I was literally running around grunting like a caveman, like,
And that was yesterday. That was just last night.
When I was a teen in school, there was some point, I don't remember what all was going on. I know I was in like marching band and different things. We had a lot of stuff going on with that, but I was also like, I had different things going on that I was trying to work on at home, and I was like, I gotta just stay up. I gotta stay up. I gotta stay up, and I couldn't sleep because I had so much stuff buzzing around in my brain. I stayed up, I think, for 60 plus hours. I don't know the exact number anymore. I used to, because it was a point of like, wow, this must be a record for me. And I don't
Right.
believe I've ever stayed awake that long again. But I mean, there's been times when I've had to stay up all night for different things, like working at retail, doing Black Friday.
We know about
Like
that, don't we?
going in at one point, working 12 hours, then going
Yep.
home, not even getting a chance to actually rest, going home and like having a snack for like a couple hours, and then you got to come back in for another 12-hour shift because that's what the scheduling is
Yeah.
like. And it's like,
But at
my
that
goodness.
point, they were paying us overtime.
Well,
So at that
yeah,
point, it was great. Like,
it
go
didn't
ahead
make me
and
feel any less like trash, but still, like,
no, but it's worth it. But that's the thing. Like, we can
Not
do it
sure
when
what
we
that
have
was.
to, but to do it on a repetitive cycle would break your brain. It would mentally break you because you need that time for your brain to rest, to get the updates it actually needs.
Mm.
So for me, like I said, for me, I think it's installing the updates that you have given to your brain, your body. For instance, I work out a lot. So, like, I like to lift. I lifted today. I did legs today. But on days when I do chest and biceps and triceps, I like I'm still going, but I need that time for my muscles to rest.
Mm.
I need that time for my muscles to rebuild and repair, and the best time to do is when I'm sleeping. So like they repair to a point, but then you wake up and you're sore. You're like, oh, I'm sore, but that's because your muscles have only repaired to a point. You've only recovered to a point. And so we need that time, because if I worked out, if I did legs, or if I did shoulders, triceps, biceps, and chest, and then tried to do it the next day without sleeping, I would injure myself. Probably damn near kill myself, to be perfectly honest.
Now, see, I have always, for a long time, struggled with insomnia. Probably because I pushed myself too much as a kid to stay up all the time and to, do whatever I was doing, and then I just caught on eventually. But I have trouble sleeping until I'm completely, utterly exhausted. I have to stay up a certain amount of time every day in order to make sure that I'm so tired, I'm definitely going to sleep. Because otherwise, I'll just lay there and I'll just stay awake, and my brain will just go into overdrive and just replay things that aren't important for hours and hours and hours and hours. And that probably has a lot to do with why I am the way I am sometimes. I'm perpetually grouchy all the time, as some people can attest. I'm usually angry about something. I have to kind of rein everything in. And because I'm a logical, kind of smart person, because I'm a smart person,
That's
I
when
have
he's
to,
the smartest.
I can see that it's an issue, and I have to keep myself going and keep that in. But it's a constant problem. Like, it's a constant issue. And if I have dreams, it wipes me out sometimes. I'll wake up in the morning after having dreamed all night, and I'll just still be exhausted because my brain has still been working. It hasn't
Because your
taken that
brain doesn't, in
opportunity.
fact, shut off. Well, I shouldn't say
Right.
shut off, but it doesn't power down
It doesn't go
enough
into
to
that
install
rest
those
space.
updates. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it
And
just
that's
keeps
a
on going.
because your
least-
body, while you physically can, like, physically resting is good, but you can physically rest and not sleep. But
Mhm.
if you don't sleep to mentally sleep, you will break yourself. You will break your brain, because your brain needs that time to shut down. It needs that time to be able to install those updates that you've done throughout the day, especially if you're doing something that involves physical exertion or mental exertion. If you're one of these people that doesn't do any of that, right, and you don't have anything that's mentally taxing or physically taxing, you probably sleep decent or poorly. I think it's good, to be honest, to mentally and physically exert yourself for the
To do
best
something.
optimal sleep. Yes.
The
Because what
chemicals have to
happens
flow.
is, yes, because your body has to exert all the energy that it has in order for you to get good sleep. If you've ever worked a 12-hour shift, and I've worked a
Every
couple
day.
factory jobs where I've worked 12-hour shifts, there's nothing better than coming home from a 12-hour shift, eating some dinner, kind of chilling, kind of relaxing. You sleep good. You sleep good. Now, take a day off. Don't do anything during the day, and you're going to sleep terrible at night, because your body's like, well, I don't really need to install the updates. You didn't do much today. Your body doesn't need to update today. So you're going to stay awake for a little while. But on days where I've got up early for work and I've worked hard all day, when I come home, I sleep fantastic. On days when I'm off and I don't do anything, I don't work out, I just kind of chill. My body's like, okay, I guess we're just it's a light update. It's 1 megabyte of an update. It's not 32 gigabytes or 50 gigabytes or 150 gigabytes. It's maybe a gigabyte, and so you're good to go.
It's the
You get like
10.1 megabyte that Xbox
yeah,
gives you for updates that are only for like, oh yeah,
yes,
DLC is
yes.
unlocked now. You can access it.
Yes. It's almost like it's almost as if your brain is like, okay, you get a modicum amount of sleep. There'll be times when I'll lay down to go to sleep at night and I'll do a nap. I'll nap for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'm up for the next 5-6 hours. Because my brain's like, cool, you didn't do anything today. I downloaded the update for you, buddy. Go ahead and stay up for 5-6 hours, and then that hampers and disrupts your sleep cycle, because there's nothing worse than having your circadian rhythm or your sleep cycle messed up, because now you're not sleeping for the next couple of days. So now your body's like, well, now I got to catch up. So on like that third day of not sleeping well, your body's like, okay, now you finally have to go to sleep. I got to put you to sleep or you're going to be put to sleep.
And that's a thing too. Like I can't nap. If I nap,
I
I
love
always
napping.
feel worse. Like I know you love napping because you have done it enough times while I've
I've done it
been
on.
there hanging out.
It's not even that. I've done it when we're playing something on Xbox. I'll just straight up pass
Yeah,
out. If I'm
I
bored,
have
yeah, I'm
seen it.
taking a
I've
nap.
seen it happen on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because it
Was that a
happens.
12-hour? That was
It's
that was,
verifiable.
to be fair, that was a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. stream. To be fair, that was a 12-hour
Yeah.
stream to which my brain was not
Um,
accustomed to the time.
I can't nap though because if I nap for like a couple hours or any like small amount of time, I get up and I just feel so much worse. Like I'm just like, oh, I'm completely drained of everything. I feel like I've just been hit with a rock. Like
Some people can't nap. They
I
can't.
can't. And because sometimes there's been times in the past, like when my daughter was a lot younger, there were times during the middle of the day where running around chasing after her and the pets and
Yeah.
everything. I'm just like, I gotta lay down, and I would lay on the
Yeah.
couch and take a nap, but I'd feel so awful for the rest of the day, and I'd have to take care of her and take care of everything. And I'm just like, oh, I feel so terrible. And eventually I got out of that and I felt a little bit better, but man, like I can't do it. I can't do it.
See, I don't get it. Like you and River, I don't get it. When I nap, I feel great. I can nap. I can fall asleep. I did today. I napped today for about 20 minutes and it was the greatest thing ever. And the crazy thing is, I dream more vividly when I nap than I do when I sleep at night when I go to bed. I
Because
will
of REM sleep.
dream hours worth of dreams in a 20-minute span, but I will dream nothing in a 6-7 hour span of sleeping. My brain is just very active, but it's like, all right, you went to the gym, you got up at 5, because I will get up at 5 in the morning and be clanging and banging at that gym at 6 a.m. So when I go home, my body's like, okay, you've had your coffee, you've had some breakfast, okay, you've ripped and you've stretched and torn your muscles. Now I have to fix that. I know you're tired. Lay down, take a nap, and it always happens after I get out of the shower. I get home, nothing better than a good workout, like a good lift. Go home, let that hot water hit the muscles. It sort of relaxes the muscles. It doesn't have them tensing up. If you're hydrated, you won't cramp your muscles. And so my brain is like, okay, let's take a nap. You got that good shower and you got the good workout in. Let's take a nap. And so I'll nap anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. But then I wake up refreshed. I wake up like sometimes I will lay down for a nap and I will jump up out of bed after that hour, like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do stuff.
Like
I
one of
feel
those old
amazing.
like 50s shows where he leaps up out of bed like, hey,
Yeah, that's me.
Like
That's me.
Nikola
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah, because and listen, I love napping more than I love sleeping. I like a good quick nap. Sometimes I like putting my head down on the desk and doing one of the old school high school naps. I'll nap for 15, 20 minutes. Wake up like, okay, let's go. It refreshes me. So, and for some people like Spider or like River, those naps will kill you folks.
Certain ancient societies actually felt that if you napped rather than slept for several hours, like if you napped periodically throughout a certain span of time, you actually accomplished more, you were more
Yeah.
awake, you were smarter, more intelligent. Like
Yeah.
I think it was what was it? The Greeks or the Romans even had like a where you slept, but then you woke up in like the
Yeah.
mid morning, stayed
Yeah.
up for another 4 or 5
Yeah.
hours, even ate, had a meal, like a light meal, nothing real heavy,
Yes.
just a light meal, like did some stuff, went back to bed, woke up a few hours later, and you were fine. So it's an interesting. I've tried that before, and I've always failed at it, but it just could be because of my routine. I mean, we get
One
into our routines and things, and they ruin stuff like that. So
one of my favorite things is working out, lifting early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock, coming home, having a very large breakfast, showering, and then taking a good nap, waking up around noon, and then I'm good to go for the rest of the day because I have ate, I have rested my muscles for the brief span of time I've needed to, and I feel amazing. I love napping after working out and eating. I enjoy both of those things. I prefer napping to sleeping because sleeping to me it's too much. it's too long. Some people, I know people that are like, I love sleeping. I don't love sleeping. I love napping. I like resting for, intervals of like 30 minutes to an hour and then waking up fully refreshed. I don't like sleeping for 5, 6 hours, 7 hours and being like, well, time to get up. I don't care for it. I don't like it. Because my naps are where the most vivid dreams that I have from. I take naps and have dreams that I feel like I'm in. Then I wake up, I feel like I'm still in it. Like the scenery is still the same when I've napped and I'm like coming out of somewhat of a haze. As to where when I sleep, they're just brief dreams that I know are fake. Like in my head, I'm like, these aren't real. I'm asleep. And I know I'm asleep. But I can't lucidly dream and change it. Like some people can. Some people can change their dreams via lucid dreaming. I cannot. And I've tried. I think that involves being able to control, and that's via like exercises, via breathing, meditation, and things like that. Uh-oh. Well, Ryan, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. Let them know about the Yi Nutalushi on your travels, because you let us know, and it was a great conversation. Guys, go check out Let the Monsters In with Ryan Tremblay. It's a very awesome thing. Go check it out, and go check Ryan. He's a good dude, solid guy, been on the show before, and a good guy. We definitely appreciated having him on. But to get back to it, napping for me is a way for my body to recharge quickly. It's a very like jolt to the system type thing. But I think if you don't sleep well at night, I think you nap well during the day, personally.
The thing, I wanted to get this in before I forget, because I'll forget, but then I'll
Mhm.
pass it over to Steve here. But the thing about lucid dreaming too is that it's not something that you just lay down, go to bed for your regular bedtime, and then you just do. There's a lot of factors that go involved with that. You have to be in a certain environment. You have to be wearing a certain set of clothes, or you could be the best way to do it. And I'm not trying to be funny or trying to be
I
like,
swear,
whoa,
if you say how I think you're going to say
it to be nude
black and clothes.
because certain things, like if you're binded up, like if your clothes are baggy and they get twisted up, or if they're too tight, or if you've got a blanket where your legs get tangled up while you're trying to sleep, it will bleed through into the dream. If you have a dream where you're trying to run from something and you can't because your legs are too slow or too heavy, it's because there's a blanket, or there's like a lot of times there's physical things
Like
bleeding
TV.
into your dream experience. So in order to have a perfect lucid dream, and I can't say that I've had 100% perfect lucid dreams, but I've tried this before. The more things that you have weighing your body down, the less likely you are to be able to control a dream like that, because you can't physically move around as well. You can't, and because your mind knows, even if you don't know because you're dreaming, your brain knows you can't be running through a field like this. You got like 12 pounds of blankets on. You got pillows. You got this. You got somebody's got their arm over you, like holding you down. You can't do stuff, So if you're going to get into lucid dreaming, you have to have as clear a space as possible with as little friction as possible. That's a top
What do you?
tip for everybody out there.
But thanks for the tip. We didn't know we didn't need to know that you slept without clothes, though. I could have been okay.
I
I could have
don't
been okay
anymore.
never knowing that. Like I would have been okay 100%. Went through the rest of my
I
life.
was experimenting
Woke up and
specifically
been
with
like,
lucid
I'm
dreaming.
glad that I
He
never
did.
knew that.
I was specifically experimenting with lucid dreaming. So,
I don't
you
need
got
to
to
know
try
that.
everything. Well, now
I
you do.
don't
Well,
need
now
to
that
know
lives
that you
rent
didn't have
free in your head
clothes at
forever.
some
So
point.
there you go. I'm going to drink to that.
Just like Channing Tatum.
You're gonna drink to everything.
No,
What are you
John
talking
Cena.
about?
Well, yeah,
My bad.
but that's just another thing I can add to the list.
Good
Just
job
like
ruining
John
my
Cena.
night. Thank you.
Good job ruining my liver.
Well. If it ain't the old liver ruiner.
Hey, intervention
What
time.
what were you saying, Steven?
Like John Cena. He sleeps like John Cena.
Right, because you can't stand it.
No, at the Grammys. You didn't hear?
I don't do that.
That
Yeah.
could be a conspiracy theory. Some people say.
We're
Yeah.
not doing that.
I'm
No,
not gonna
I
back
think it
go
was
on
just a dumb
topic. Back
stunt.
on topic,
Just a
gentlemen.
dumb stunt.
Gentlemen, back on
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
All right. Slap.
How many
Going back.
days of the week
Go
would
ahead.
you say that you dream? Like, remember dreaming. How many days of the week?
Never.
We don't need to know you, outlier intern. He's the
All right.
intern
Okay.
outlier.
I didn't know who you were asking, so I was going to let him.
Both
go
of
first,
you.
but-
I was asking both of you. He says never. So yourself, naked dreamer.
Only during then. I wear clothes now.
He wears a toga to bed.
I actually.
Don't do it.
I'm fully clothed, like top to bottom. Like I used to be like, you gotta have a t-shirt, you gotta have like no socks on, but now I have socks, I have pants, I have everything. Like I have a hoodie on while I sleep. It's crazy. It's weird. I know. I'm weird.
I
guy.
wear shorts and a hoodie.
But
because
I
I
won't
enjoy
use-
sleeping in the cold.
I won't use a blanket anymore because it bogs me down.
What are you,
Because
Amish?
I know. Do the Amish not use blankets? Is that a thing now? Okay.
Well, I mean, obviously. But
It depends on
Pat-
if they were made with a machine.
all right, James, have a good one, buddy. Thank you for watching the show. We always love and appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you. Have you noticed a change in your dreams from when you had the blanket and less clothes to now that you don't use a blanket but have more clothes?
Yes.
Okay.
Because in at least half of my dreams, I'm moving, I'm running around, I'm doing stuff, or I'm chasing somebody, or I'm running from something, or I'm doing something like that. And
I
without
was
the
going to make a
blanket,
joke about all that in real life, but I'm not.
without the blanket, my legs can move physically in real life. So if I'm tossing and turning or whatever,
Real life.
this is for kids. Come on now, keep that to yourself. But I can run in my dreams at relatively average speed.
Okay.
Whereas if I had the blanket, I'd run too slow. It'd be like a muddier, like it's an effort. And so I don't use a blanket anymore because I specifically want to let that part of my dreams do what they do. Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But like,
I sleep in basketball shorts and a hoodie. And with a blanket. So I can't just. The thing is, I can't sleep in thin layers of clothing. I can't just sleep in my underwear because I need to. I don't know. So I have a thing that I need to be prepared if something jumps off, which it's not going to jump off. All right. I've seen enough movies where people break in the house, and I don't want to have to wake up at 2 a.m. to fight off an intruder with boxers on. Like, I don't want to have to do that. I'm going to be like, give me a second. I got to put on some shorts. So
I
I'm
am kind of
always
constantly
ready.
paranoid about people, because my neighborhood has been kind of
Yes,
crappy too.
your neighborhood is a little bit worse than mine.
So, yeah, by
So like I
some
keep
factors.
the boxers, I keep the shorts all over the boxers because I might have to get up and do some things. And I don't want, parts of me to come out while I'm trying to, fend off an intruder. I mean, whatever, it's stay here and get weird or get out, but the thing is for me is that I like having that covering because if something happens, it's not even so much that, but like if something happens to where if somebody in my household gets injured and I have to get up in the middle of the night and we got, I got to go to the hospital, this, that, and the third, I am ready to go. I'm jumping out of bed. I'm changed. I'm ready to go. Something happens and I have to leave the house. If somebody calls and says, hey, this has happened, that's happened, I'm ready to go. So for me, it's more preparedness. But there have been times when I have slept sans clothing, but it didn't change the dreams for me because I don't have dreams where I am slow. I think my brain supersedes and says, I know that you're wearing clothes and you have a blanket. You're still going to be able to run and move. I've never had dreams where I'm like slow.
That's the thing too. It's if your brain realizes one thing over the other and kind of superimposes one part of reality over the other. Like my brain is ridiculously over logical. It is constantly being like, this is how everything in the real world works. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do that. So in my dream, it's like you're weighed down by this and by this, by this. Screw
He's
you.
over encumbered.
And yeah, that's exactly what it is.
He's been
Because my
stealing
brain
TV
is
pots
too
and
smart
pans.
for its own good. It's interpreting reality and bleeding it into every single dream I have. It's like, nah, you can't do that. Forget
Got
it.
too many
Don't even
wheels of
try.
cheese.
You're trying to chase him with your laser pistol, and you don't have a laser pistol. You just got your fingers. But in the dream, I have the laser pistol. So it's like, why won't it shoot the person? It's
See, my brain's like, "Oh, I know this is a dream. Let's have fun. We don't
and
got to
that's
worry
a good
about the fact
difference.
that you're wearing
That's an
pants."
important difference.
Um, now what I think too, though, is with dreams and nightmares, I think there is a correlation at some point, but I don't know what that's to. Because I've watched horror movie after horror movie or played horror game and never once had a nightmare about those things. Not once. But I could see something happening, like in real life, like a stick falling off a tree, and then in my dreams, that stick becomes a full-on stick monster and comes to try to get me. So it's very weird. Like horror themes don't cause me nightmares, but just everyday things or people that I haven't seen in years show up and they're evil. It's things like that. Like I'm not a person that has the oh, if I see something scary or if I play a scary game or see a horror movie, I have a dream about that horror movie. That never happens for me, oddly enough.
Like when I'd had dreams about earlier on, I talked about dreams about having like the alien or the
Yeah,
dinosaurs. It was less like a nightmare and more like this is a crazy dream and this is kind of
yeah.
frightening, but I can deal with it. It's not like a nightmare where it's just like, oh no, I'm helpless. I'm just this thing's gonna get me. It's more like I'm in the dream figuring out how do I fight back against this thing. It's a problem solving scenario.
Yeah. It's not anything to where like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of the alien creature, man. It's oh my god, this is illogical dream. Like,
It used to
how
be
do I
like
best it?
I used to be afraid of heights, like really badly. Like I would, if I tried to go up a ladder, I would freeze up. Like I used to be terrible
Mhm.
about heights. I've gotten
Me.
past that, and I'm really good about it now. Like still kind of nervous, but I think that's a body thing. I think that's just like the leftover bits of it being like, oh, you're pretty high up. Nah, forget it. I'm fine. Deal with it. But I used to be really bad when I was younger, and so I had nightmares involving heights. Like it'd be like in a car going over a bridge that was impossibly in the sky over a vast like drop somewhere, and then the bridge breaks and the car falls. Oh my gosh. Or different situations like that where you'd be falling and I don't have those kind of dreams anymore because I'm not afraid of that anymore.
And I think too that's an interesting aspect. I think once you get over some of the trauma that you've went through or like the bad experiences you went through, those dreams fade away. Because I have had dreams about the trauma I've went through, but after having had them so many times and knowing that I'm not that person or I'm not going through that trauma, my brain's like, "Oh, we're not going through that anymore. I don't have to create that anymore." Because you have taking care of that aspect of your personality, of your persona, and now you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to dwell on it anymore. And I don't
Mhm.
like, to be honest, I have less nightmares and more dreams, and I don't have that many dreams. Like I said, the last one I remember was being in the Assassin's Creed. Like I was in their group running through Baghdad, and that's because I had watched a buddy of mine stream Assassin's Creed Mirage. And I was like, it was cool because I was like, man, I'm running, but I knew that it was fake, but my legs were running. I got away from the authority because I was stealing documents. And somebody told me, they were like, yeah, that sounds like you. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's me in real life, obviously. However,
Stealing
for
documents.
stealing important documents, yeah, 100%. But I think that once you traverse and overcome your uh, situations, issues, problems, I think that as long as your chemicals in your brain are regulated properly, you're going to move past those. Now, some people will have nightmares regarding very evil and wicked things because the chemistry in their brain, i.e., Annalise Michael, she had nightmares, but that was because her brain chemicals
Hmm.
were off the charts. She was very bipolar. She was schizophrenic. And when they leveled out her medication, when they gave her medication, it leveled her out. But then when they took it from her, cold turkey style, she broke. And I think that
Yeah.
there's some people that have those nightmares and dreams. But I also think, like I said before, that dreams are premonitions. I feel like you know what's going to happen sometimes before it happens, and your dreams are a way of telling you this is going to happen. This is how you should navigate it. I'm not telling you to navigate it, but this is how you should navigate it if you choose to navigate it. So I think dreams act like sort of a warning system for us, or even hey, you've been, this person's going to show up again. You haven't seen this person. And I had this happen. Buddy of mine, hadn't seen him in 10 years. And I was thinking about him and I had a dream about him. And then I went into the gym the next day and saw him. And I said, whoa, dude, I just had a dream that I just saw you in a dream of mine. And now you're here in front of me. And so it's crazy how we do that. Or, your brain will think of somebody and then you'll see him. You haven't seen him all the time. So for me, it's kind of interesting how your brain sort of can predict the future for you, which would then meld itself into the matrix ideology or matrix theory, which some people have.
We have science to support that now.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
I say it's more like the string theory thing, where all time and space is actually all happening all at once, and we can only, because of where our consciousness is, we can only perceive it in a linear way. We can't perceive it as an all thing, which makes sense, because if you could see all time and everything happening all the time around you all at once, you'd probably go a bit crazy.
Actually,
I don't think you'd go crazy. I just think your brain would break. I don't think you can comprehend it. I don't think you'd go crazy. I just think you would be like a mute. You wouldn't be able to say nothing, see nothing, feel nothing, hear nothing.
It's overwhelming.
You would just be, it would cause you to shut down fully. Because now you're seeing all points from all point of views at all times. Our brains aren't meant to see that. Our brains aren't meant to feel that. Our brains aren't meant. Our dreams and nightmares are look into those worlds and realms, but we couldn't do it because we had to focus on one. Our brain isn't built to focus on multiple dimensions at once. It just isn't. No matter what you say, it's not. Because while you can focus on one or two for a time period, you couldn't go your whole day focusing on multiple dimensions at one time. Your brain is already taxed enough doing the things that it does, sleeps, eats, engages in conversations, does work. Having to understand multiple dimensions at one time and being able to make choices that reflect all of those, which would be impossible. Once you've made a choice, you can't go back and unmake that choice. But in another dimension, you've made a different choice. Parallel.
It's too much. It's too much for where our minds are situated right now.
Yes.
I mean, people talk about how you only use a certain amount of your brain and this and that, and it's so powerful, whatever. But you forget about all the things it has to do that you don't think about. It is doing all the thinking that you don't. Like, you don't think about breathing. Now that I've said that, we're all going to think about, am I breathing?
Or blinking.
We're all gonna think, it's going to drive us crazy. Yeah, we're all going to blink. Yeah. We're all going to blink. Or whatever.
Blink. Doesn't matter. Brinks, the truck.
Brinks.
Money.
Securing my money forever. But that's what it is. Like, once there's so many things going on automatically.
Yes.
That's the reason why you don't use your whole brain for thinking, because your brain is busy.
Because you can't think.
So many things to go.
You got to drain it twice a day.
Oh yeah, it's
so you can think good.
Overfills. But yeah, like you couldn't add in a view of a multiverse all existing, all happening within a time frame, all at once, all the time, at the same time, and still function the rest of your body. Because it's just it may be powerful, but it's not. It can't do it.
It's one-dimensionally powerful. It's not multiple dimensions powerful. Well, everyone, that was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. Sometime we're going to do a show on symbolism of dreams, because we need to do that as well. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you to Apple, River, Ryan, James, Steven the intern, aka Deadpool, Spider, myself. Thank you, Zach, Zeus, Alfie, all of them coming out tonight to show the show love. We appreciate each.
It was jumping in the chat room tonight.
It sure was, and I love to see it. I need to see it more. Next week, I will not be here. So I need to see what you two come up with next week. What do you two, because you're over here. You two going to come up with? Steven won't be at his friend's house. He'll be back on the moon or the planet that is not the moon, because his background is the moon and the sun, the earth and the moon. Steven, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. No need to thank me for coming. I love being here. We appreciate you, River. You're an awesome person. All the love. I love you. We love you. It's all good. Anyways, gentlemen, any final thoughts?
I would like to ask Spider one thing before we sign off real quick.
Please.
That thing I sent to the group chat about the universe being conscious, did you understand that enough that you could summarize that for us?
Not in the few minutes that we have. It's a bit of a lengthy examination.
It is a lengthy one.
So we maybe we'll address that for next week. Maybe this is a teaser. For next week.
Just don't wake Azathoth. Don't wake Azathoth, because if you do, you're all going to disappear.
That's right. Once the dreamer awakens, then it's all over.
Anyways, guys, thank you for being here. We love each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. If you have anything, please send it to Nope, that's not it. Please send it to thisuncanny@gmail.com. Feel free to send me pictures, stories, anything that you feel that needs to be out there in the uncanny land that we have. By all means, send it to me. Also, reach out. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Reach out to us with anything.
If you want to be a guest on the show, let us know. We take almost everybody because, we do.
I mean, we got Steven the intern, so we do take almost everybody. I'm kidding. I love Steven. He's a good dude. I'm glad he's a part of the show.
We like talking to people, so come on. We'll talk to you.
We'll talk to you. Also, 2 weeks from yesterday, I will be a guest on Les Odell's newest podcast.
The legend.
Yeah. I will be a guest in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from yesterday, I will be on the Les Odell show on WVK. So make sure you're watching, because it's going to be good. It's going to be amazing. Make sure you are there watching. I'm going to have a good time. Last night's episode was his first, and he had Bill Rigby, the troublemaker. Bill William
Celebrities.
Rigby. Yeah, I had to get in there.
Celebrities.
I had to get in there and let him know, hey, you should have Robert Solomon on. He's a good guy. We love that guy. So, yeah, I'll be on 2 weeks. Also, 2 weeks from... a week. No, 2 weeks from tomorrow, I will be in Pennsylvania giving a presentation on Giants, but it's a new one. It's a new one for 2024. You don't want to miss that one. Then on May 4th, Revenge of the 4th. I don't know. I don't watch Star Wars movies.
May the 4th be with you.
There it is. I will be doing another presentation in the panhandle of West Virginia, so in Brooke County. Come through, say hey, give me a high five. You'll be like, hey, buddy, like that, just high five. I'm high five you. Other than that, gentlemen, do you have anything going on that you would like to plug?
Not here. Nope, nothing here.
This is his most prestigious show right here.
Well, clearly. It should be. He's the intern.
Got to put it on that resume.
He does. You got to pat it. You got to pat his resume.
What do we have? Well, also don't forget you have your Twitch streams going on. You did an unboxing recently.
I did.
Right.
Of Unicorn Overlord, which is right here.
Ding, ding,
don't
ding,
look
ding,
at
ding.
the box. Just look at the game.
Don't look at the box because there was rips. I'm still PO'd about that. I'm still a little mad about it.
So make sure you tune into his Twitch channel to see just how angry he was. And also check out Spider Does Things on YouTube.
He drinks.
Because
this guy drinks. He drinks liquor. Oh, listen.
I drink, I game,
have you got a hold of the Blackberry Crown yet?
Not yet. I haven't seen it.
I'm going out tomorrow to see if I can find it.
If you can find it, let me know. We'll try to coordinate a video for it.
Because, no, we will not. I'll be coordinating.
Oh, well, you drink it all yourself. Fine, whatever. You send me the video and I'll put it up on the channel, on the Uncanny Spirits Club.
I can do that myself.
which is gearing up towards episode 100.
Listen, I watched your video the other day, and you better be doing something with me for that episode 100.
I
I'll be
have
real
something
mad if you
special
don't.
planned. I have something special
Good.
planned for that. And so it's gearing up towards that. Also, Twitch streams going on my channel, and who knows? I don't know. Whatever else I feel like putting up there. So lots of content spread across the entire Uncanny universe.
And hopefully this dude gets back to streaming again. This Yahoo under here, this guy.
He's got like
Eventually.
3 videos, and that's it. Come on, man. I need
He
more.
used to stream all the time. He don't do it no more.
I need
He
more.
needs to get back into that persona. We need to see you do your persona thing
Put
and
the mask
transform
on
into a
and do it.
dragon and fight Frieza. Because that's right. That's it, right? Persona's like Dragon Ball, same thing.
Yeah, that's the last boss. That's the last boss fight.
There's balls everywhere. I'm good.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys,
Oh.
as always, why be boring when you can be uncanny? We'll see you fine folks. Well, they will see you next week, and they better live up to my expectations, or the week after that, it's just going to be me doing the show. Love you guys. Care for you guys. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we will see you folks